So, when it comes to gifts, would you rather give or receive? For this startup, they recognize that to build business, you've got to do both. So let's welcome Mika Kayt, the founder and CEO of Outgage. So let's talk about Outgage. What's your startup all about?
Outgage is a B2B direct mail and gifting platform, marketing first, but generally letting businesses create, deliver, and measure really cool corporate gifts with, some sort of meaning behind it for the most part, and with the intent of meaningfully engaging with their audience.
So where did this idea come from? How long have you been passionate about gift giving and marketing?
I opened a company in the corporate gifting world, and as much as we saw a lot of needs for it in different departments, I have a marketing background, so really noticing that marketers were using gifting as a growth hacking tactic that was just super hard to scale, at least creatively speaking, if they wanted to really curate a cool experience. And then actually making it actionable and measurable, and not copy pasting tracking numbers or asking their other team members to follow up on those things. That's really where we saw the need for tying gifting into the marketing strategy, and closing the loop with actionable and measurable landing pages, and now also tying into longer marketing strategies, such as we're doing with Eloqua and Oracle. So that's sort of the background.
I traditionally think of gift giving as a very personal offline activity. How does technology empower meaningful gift giving?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at the end of the day, I think that you're right. Offline, getting a gift in person definitely makes an impact, right? It's really hard to not notice a gift in real life, especially one that has some thought and meaning to it. And we're seeing that also translate into the digital world now. So at the end of the day, it's not only about giving a gift or sending something. It's about how you do it and why you're doing it and how that ties in. And, I'm sure that marketers will think through all the branding questions and the messaging questions of all their marketing efforts. So really the content itself does matter, but also how we're sending it. And in order to get to our audience at scale now, the tech world is a huge part of that. So how do we actually get to our audience? And maybe we're sending things, first of all, through emails or different touch points in our marketing funnel. How do we tie that to gifting? And then how do we measure all of it and make it actionable? And that's where tech comes in, because sending somebody a gift and asking somebody else to call them on the phone is a really hard, long manual funnel that most of the users of this funnel will not typically enjoy that experience. So we really want to bring for an enjoyable experience that both the recipient and the gifter will have a scalable, quick, fun loop to close on that, and that's where tech comes in.
So your startup is growing quickly. What have you learned about scaling a startup?
What we've learned about scaling a startup is that it's not, there's not one way to do it in one channel. And at the end of the day, as a startup, we only have so much of our network and power. So a few things. We really enjoyed drinking our own champagne and scaling through gifting campaigns, which has been a really meta experience and also helped us build more human-to-human relationships with our customers and partners and friends of Outgage. But also, in order to expand that scale more quickly, we've really turned to partnerships with larger companies that it's really not necessarily a given that larger companies like Oracle are looking for innovative solutions and could help power us get to even more potential users in a more strategic way.
So you've leveraged membership in the Oracle for Startups program into integrations and partnerships with the Oracle Marketing Cloud. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, it's really about in terms of, integrating with Oracle. It was a given for us. At the end of the day, we have customers who use Oracle, and if we can take gifting from a tactic touch point to a strategic touch point and tie that into the rest of their marketing strategy, we see it as like a win-win-win, and that's sort of what brought us to even come to Oracle in the first place.
You chose to scale up with a strategic relationship with Oracle. What advice do you have for founders who want to scale their startups?
My advice for founders who want to scale their startups is really taking a look into where their audience is already at first and foremost before moving. I think planning is a big piece of this. So understanding where your audience is at, and if there's a way to, get to them in more of a bundled way or utilize relationships to get to that, then that would be my 2 cents on this. But really just researching first and understanding where that audience is.
Has anything surprised you about working with Oracle?
You know what? It has. I think that when we came into the partnership with Oracle, we were not expecting too much besides, being a member and enjoying the App Store, which we intended on doing. It was very surprising for the better and a non-given, again, that such a large and established company like Oracle actually cares deeply about innovation and also has such a large support system inside of Oracle. So we probably, we're speaking with 5 to 10 people within Oracle on a monthly basis. And that was, very surprising that you guys give that support.
So Oracle for Startups is dedicated to supporting startups around the world, including in Israel. Can you tell a little bit about the experience being a startup in the Israeli ecosystem?
Yeah, for us, it's interesting. We were always a hybrid company, so always split US, Israel. I don't know to say that it's any different than being a US startup. From my perspective, I've always split my time, so it's really hard to say one or the other. I will say that in Israel, the network is super, small and everybody knows each other to an extent, as opposed to the US. So it definitely has its benefits in terms of having very warm and quick relationships with more of the ecosystem.
Just start sharing gifts within that ecosystem and everyone in Israel will know you.
Oh, exactly. Oh, don't worry, Whitney, we sent it to them already. They're familiar.
Speaking of a win-win. So if viewers want to know more about Outgage, where should they go?
They can come to our website, so www.outgage.co. They can also find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We're starting an Instagram now, so happy to see you guys there.
Great. It's so exciting to watch Outgage scale. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.